All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Night Prep. Let's get ready for the week ahead. Yeah, we got a big week. We had a big week last week. And now we have an even bigger one this week. We got tons of earnings to go through. We got plenty of economic data this week, and it's just going to be a wild one. I've already seen people say that they're just going to sit this week. Um, I've had a few people already talking about, which way we're gonna go. So it's very interesting out there. Not only Discord, but social media. You name it. Their analysts are going crazy right now. It's kind of entertaining. That's pretty much all I've been doing is just reading and reading and reading. It's just like, man, these predictions are hysterical. But yeah, busy week ahead. Let's kind of get into it. First things first. Monday, yeah, it's a little bit probably our quietest day, to say the least, especially with our round of earnings data. I think mainly the probably the most interesting one Monday morning, tomorrow morning is going to be SoFi, especially for you SoFi fans out there. You got earnings Monday morning. Not much economic activity going on tomorrow, which is good. So we get a little bit of a reprieve for that before we get going full gear. Which Tuesday we definitely go full like into third gear for the most part. Before the market bell on Tuesday, we got Cat, we got ExxonMobil, we got General Motors, McDonald's, UPS, and Spotify. Cat is probably going to be the most interesting one out of that day. It's been one of our leading names out there. So that one could be pretty darn interesting. Spotify also, that one's going to be pretty interesting as well, not only just from a technical standpoint, but we know that they've released about 6% of their workforce, and the market seems to like it when these companies right now are laying people off, especially in tech. You lay people off, that means you're cutting one of your biggest costs, which is unfortunately employees. So off we go on that. And Tuesday after the bell, we get AMD. That one's going to be fun. We also get Snapchat and EA. AMD is probably going to be the one I'll probably focus on. Wednesday, that is our big day. Just go ahead and say it. We got FOMC at 2 o'clock, and Powell speaks at 2:30. We get the rate decision, which as of right now, our main prediction is we got a 99.9% chance of a 25 basis point rate hike. So going into that, that's what we're working with. We'll see. Of course, maybe Powell wants to shut things down. We'll see. We'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, on Wednesday we got rate decision. We also got S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. We got ISM Manufacturing PMI. We got JOLTS job openings. These three and oil inventories. All those are in the morning. FOMC is in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Pre-market earnings, we got Waste Management, we got Altria, T-Mobile, Peloton. Shaman already says he likes Waste Management, and Peloton. We fired Waste Management over here because they weren't picking up our trash, so we fired them and got a new company because Waste Management was not doing their jobs. So just a personal tidbit there. Yeah, but Peloton, that one could be interesting. I don't know what the expectations are on that one. I didn't look it up, but you also have Humana. After the market close, we get Meta. That's going to be our big one. And then you got Affleck. Affleck's pretty interesting chart on a technical basis, but Meta definitely going to be our first tick there. But the expectations on Meta are going to be a miss on Meta, which I think that's kind of expected anyway, with everything that's going on with them trying to focus more and more on the metaverse and all that change. So we'll see. Thursday, yet again, non-farm Q4 productivity. That does have an inflationary data point in it, so we'll need to pay attention to that. Big earnings day for Thursday as well. Before the bell, we got Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, we got Hershey's, Sony, if you care for that one. But after the close, just might as well rip the band-aid off. You got Google, you got Apple, you got Amazon, you got Ford, you got Qualcomm, you got Starbucks, you got US Steel. I mean, they just pounded Thursday like it was, the last day to do it. So Thursday's going to be a big one. Apple expecting a 1.94 EPS. There's a lot of analysts out there who have hold and buy ratings on Apple, but I've also seen, some reports out there that they are expecting some misses. We'll see what happens. China lockdowns and then the reopening China theme here. Apple moving some of their plant to India. We'll see what the effects are on that. What if there's any better data on the new iPhone sales, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot to kind of focus in with Apple on that day. Google as well. We'll see what they're up to as far as we already saw the earnings report from Microsoft and their cloud, and we'll see what ad revenues are like and all that kind of good stuff. So big one with Google there and Amazon, of course. Friday, another big morning. You got the January non-farm payrolls, S&P non-manufacturing PMI, and the ISM non-manufacturing PMI for January. So yeah, every day is pretty much packed except for tomorrow. Tomorrow's like we'll see what happens day. But yeah, rest of the week, hooray! Might as well have you a glass of whiskey on your desk there, just to kind of get through it all. But just kidding, not well, if you like whiskey, I guess. But yeah, so let's get into it. I know that was a little bit long of an intro there, so I apologize. But yeah, lots of goodies to kind of divulge into. All right, so with that being said, let your technical analysis be your guide. Have your levels planned out, and pretty much go from there. Uh, act upon actionable signals, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. No big deal. That's why we have risk management. That's why we practice stops. Don't jump the gun. Uh, don't try to anticipate moves. Let the moves happen and act upon those signals that we talk about. No one knows what's going to happen. No one doesn't. If they say they know what's going to happen, run away from them. I don't know what's going to happen. Your favorite person, analyst, doesn't know what's going to happen. Jim Cramer certainly doesn't know what's going to happen. Just tune out all the noise. Have your levels. That's what we've been preaching for forever. Have your levels and trade upon those key levels. Uh, data is price is what pays. Data is data. Opinions are just opinions. We've last week was interesting. Bulls clearly have been gobbling up bad news after bad news. We saw it with starting off with Netflix. Netflix, who knows? They got, it's a terrible product, bad earnings. We're gonna see it, no doubt about that. But their earnings were a little bit, off. They weren't great by any means, but guess what? We still gapped up and we went off of it and broke a key level of resistance, and off we went. Seems pretty bullish, right? Then we have let's go to Goldman. Goldman, they reported their earnings. They got shot down, right? You'd think, okay, financials are done. Financials are done. Goldman reported trash, but look what happened. We slowly ate all of that up, and yeah, we continue to hold above the daily 200. And now we have Microsoft, who also same thing here. Bad earnings, uh, not great by any means. But yeah, we gapped down, and we opened even 300 points lower at one point. And guess what happened? The market bulls ate this up and pushed higher. And you can see that with the Qs. The Qs closed above the daily 200 for the first time since March of last year. So market bulls clearly just gobbling up bad news after bad news after bad news. That's pretty darn bullish if you ask me. So, um, we just keep rallying, and all these different events and companies and backgrounds. We fell. Even Tesla, Tesla down 65% last year. about 70% in the past 3 weeks. You know, Tesla killed it. You know, uh, QQ reclaimed daily 200. We know that the market is not going to go up every single day, just like the market does not go down every single day. So, could we just turn sideways? We could. We could also kind of come back in and retest. Sure, most definitely. Uh, but yeah, I think the most important thing to do is definitely pay attention to your key levels and have them marked, whether that is to both the upside and the downside. No sense in getting stuck in a position that you don't want to be in. We are at a very peculiar spot in the markets. We have bullish technicals, but we're at a interesting point with economic data, and also not so much bullish monetary policy. We know not to fight the Fed, but we're just at this interesting. We're butting heads right here, and with Powell coming up on Thursday, is he going to spit out the same old, which if he does, we could continue to push on higher on the SPY. And if we go here, I don't know why that level cleared away, but 410, we know 410 is on everybody's watch. That would signal a new higher high within the market, and yeah, that could ramp up things tremendously. Or does Powell just shove things right back in our throat and he gets even more hawkish? And if that is the case, sure, we would need to see if we hold the daily 200 down here at about that 395 level. SPX, that would be about 39.95, is I believe is what I had that. Let me pull up the SPX. 39.50, excuse me. Yeah, 39.50 on a retest. If we make a move to that direction, then sure we'll need to reevaluate and reassess. But to the downside, we don't want to see it move below those key support zone right there at 39.50, and even better 3900. So those are going to be my levels there. SPY obviously above 410. That is crucial. That is key. I would like to see us. We've had this great run up over the past week. I would like to see us like consolidate maybe a day or two or three, or maybe in the rest of the week. We'll know. And then push above 410 and just kind of go at it with a full tank of gas. We'll see if that happens. If not, that's okay. But the most important thing is we have our levels above 410. Great. Below 395. Not so great. So we made a lot of progress. Market breadth has been improving, and it's not just mega caps as well. It's the equal weight. If you pull up the equal weight ETF here of the S&P 500, this is the RSP. We can see that we've broken above the short term high here above 150. Now our next key spot is going to be about 153.50. So this is the S&P 500, all equal weighted. If you look at the mid caps, MDY ETF, you can see that mid caps, same situation here. You've broken this shorter term high here at 475, and now we're taking a look to see if we can take on this key level here at about 483. So there's definitely a lot of interesting things below the surface, even emerging markets. Let's take a look at Canada here. This is the EWC. Canada continues to make more and more progress in itself. You even got a little bit of an inverse head and shoulder look here on the EWC, and all you got to do is break this neckline and off you go on a bullish run there. We've been keeping an eye on Germany, France, Italy, pretty much all European markets look really, really darn good right now. And that kind of brings me back to the SPY here. If we want to take a look at this weekly chart of the S&P 500, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here if it'll let me. There we go. And then I'm going to toss out this idea, and that is going to be an inverse head and shoulder potential setup here on the SPY. This is a weekly chart here on the SPY. I'm watching this inverse head and shoulder set up. We'll see if that comes to fruition, especially if we get this break above this 410, 412. situation. All we got to do is break above. And if we get above there, 430 is going to be our next key spot here. So definitely want to keep our eyes on the SPY if the bullish momentum does continue to push on forward. So a lot of things to keep an eye on. Like I said, we got our levels there for the SPY. We'll continue to use those levels as our pretty much our go no go situation here. As far as the Qs go, similar situation. Incredible move above the daily 200. We haven't done that since March of last year. It's just been on a bullish run. We've definitely got our tradable low here down at the 260s. We've been on an incredible tear since then. You know, what is that? 15% to the upside on the Qs. It can continue to push higher. It can still play catch up because a lot of the most short names are tech. So our laggards can push higher and make progress. A lot of the most short companies are going to be here in the QQQ and the IWM. So we definitely want to continue to stay focused on these individual indices. 296, this is our resistance level right here at 296, 296.50. If we do get above that, I'm looking at about 302 and some change, and then we got a little bit of a gap fill to about 308. Below the daily 200, sure, if we get below that, then I imagine that we come in to retest 283, 280 zone. So our downside move, that's what I'm looking at. But upside, I'm definitely targeting this 303 to 310 level for the Qs. As far as the Dow goes, sure, it is still the best looking index out of there. Trading above its daily 50, the 50 is above the daily 200. You have this nice tradable bottom here down at 330. We broke out of that zone. Came back in, retested 50, got back over it. Now 343.50 is our main spot here. Once we get above this, our next spot is definitely just going to be this 348 level. Once we get above 348, 355 is your upper end level there. Now, if we do break back below the daily 50, I don't really care too much for it yet again. So 336, give or take. To the downside to retest maybe these lows down here at 328. So we got some interesting key levels here. Let me get rid of this one because that doesn't really help me too much. So yeah, 336 to the downside. If we break it, I'll turn a little bit bearish on the Dow here. The Dow, it can lag because most of the rotation is going to be mostly into tech. So we'll just kind of keep an eye, and we've seen that we've seen it with the industrials, XLI. XLI did perform okay, but not as impressive as tech, and definitely not as impressive as semiconductor names. So our focus is definitely more geared towards some of these outperforming names that we've been seeing. We know Shop had a great week last week. We took advantage of that. We hit our main price targets here at 50. There's still plenty of names out there that are doing this. Squares had a great run. It still has legs all the way up to 90. Microsoft bad earnings, and we rallied and we just continue to push up. We still have the daily 200 up here on Microsoft that we'll kind of focus in on, but for the most part, there are other names I'm going to be watching out there. Let's go on to the dollar real quick, since this is a pretty important one. The dollar is holding this 101.40 level. If we do get a breakdown, we could obviously see a further leg lower, but this is an interesting spot for things to hold as far as the dollar goes. 103 is still going to be our resistance level here. As long as it doesn't go above 103, this can act as a tailwind for risk on assets and emerging markets. So still looking for this breakdown of 101.40 to push down to 97.68. Looks like I already got some questions here. How bad do you guys think Meta is going to miss by? I think it's how bad. I think they're going to miss, but it's going to be more so like how does that conference call go? What are they going to say as far as forward guidance? Yeah, Meta's just beat up. Can you guys do you guys have a history of your trades that we have done anywhere? I do have a graphic somewhere. We do have a Shaman. I think Shaman has that. Let me see if I can get that to you. But for in the first 2 weeks, between all of our analysts, we had over an 80% success rate of our trades between all analysts. If that helps you, I can get that for you though. C Miller. But let's see. Let's progress here. So we talked about the dollar. Let's go over to crude oil. Crude oil is definitely trying to form a bottom here. We're still kind of hitting our head at 82.60. If we can get above this 82.60, yeah, plenty of room to the upside, but not really getting uh okay, so Shaman just sent that to me. Let me see if I can save this and send it over. I don't know if it will let me on here. I'll have to go to YouTube and do it, I think. Yeah. Actually, I can just move the graphic, can't I? Let's do this instead. That way you can see it. There you go. So this is our entire analyst performance. 191 trades, 155 wins, 36 losses, 81% win rate. You can screenshot that if you wish. All right, but yeah, back to crude oil. Thank you, Shaman. For that was the first 2 weeks or so of January. I'm sure we'll get a new graphic. We'll have a new graphic at the end of this week, I imagine, since it'll be the end of the month. Are you guys more of a day trader or swing? We have everything. We have day traders, we have swing traders, we got crypto, we got sports betting, we got scalping, we got spreads, you name it. We got it. There's not much. I don't think we're missing anything. We pretty much got all of our bases covered, to be honest with you. I do swing trades. I do day trades. Yeah, a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. But let's see here. Okay, I hope that it answers your question. Raw voice, like the name, man. Crude oil. Yeah, feel free. Stockdads.com. Check it out. Crude oil above 82.64. That's what we're looking for as far as the push goes. Clear this. It needs to kind of hold and build up towards that daily 200. Let's go to natural gas because natural gas is absolutely beat up to a pulp left and right. It did not keep Will Smith's wife out of its mouth. I didn't say that right. But yeah, natural gas just getting slapped around by Will Smith. Coming down to $2.44 here. If you took a look at this weekly chart, there was some hints that it tried to form support here at the weekly 200. We couldn't do that. It just absolutely bombshelled through that. Now we're looking at 2446. No signs of reversal. I'm not interested in playing in any kind of natural gas play or pretty much the utility sector at all at this moment, unless we do get some kind of rotation this week in case, Powell says some things and everybody wants to go defensive. Then I'll look at the XLU or the consumer staples name XLP. But as far as everything goes, I'm kind of staying clear of utilities, natural gas, anything of the like. So yeah, this is kind of on the back burner for the time being. We don't really want to focus in on those. Gold, I do want to bring your attention to gold because this isn't a name that I bring up week to week basis. I know there are a lot of people who trade gold. They trade uh, hard metals like gold and silver. Gold is interesting, and I'm going to bring it up because I want to bring up this weekly chart, and I'm going to zoom out like forever. Like, let's go to a 5-year chart, maybe longer than that. Maybe I need to go to a monthly chart. Let's go to 10 years. Does that show me? Okay, so let's go to a monthly chart. Monthly chart. Yeah, this kind of shows it. So you got this huge rounding bottom here. We got the rounding bottom. We also have this potential cup and handle situation. So we still have to break the highs here at 2100. This is going to be a juicy resistance zone on gold, pretty much between 1900 and 2100. If gold does break out, sure, we'll be all over it. But until it does, I'll still be patient. This has been a long time to form. I mean, you're talking about 2011 to now. So this has taken time. It's required a lot of patience, but there is some interesting things that we can go ahead and kind of take a look. Of course, this can continue to do this number, but if it does decide to break above this 2100, yeah, decades, like forever, gold has been boring. It was your great grandfather probably traded it. Yeah, you can do GC. If you don't do gold futures, you can do GLD. Same thing, same situation. GLD, you need to break above this 186 to 195 mark. If you zoom out on your monthly chart, let's go, yeah, for forever ago. Yeah, there you go. GLD, this is your gold ETF. There's your rounding bottom. There's your handle. All you need is to break these highs at about 195, and then off you go. Like I said, the handle, you can continue just kind of trading this zone on downward until you get a breakdown or break to the upside. So yeah, we'll kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to have an alert set up at these levels between 1900 and 2100 on GC, or right at about 194. I think I'm going to put my alert right here at 194 on gold, and just set it and forget it. And if it triggers, I'll get an alert, I'll get an email, I'll probably even get a text message saying, "Hey, this is going off." And then I'll immediately be like, "Okay, time to buy some gold." Either contracts or shares, probably contracts on GLD, but we'll see. Uh, Few times that I've played gold, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. Definitely overall winning on gold, but yeah, it's just sometimes it's a headache. It's been a headache, at times. All right, Bitcoin. Let's go to Bitcoin here. Bitcoin. We'll keep moving along, and then I'll get into the names that I'm watching. Bitcoin currently holding the daily 200. Congrats anybody long that was crypto on this incredible breakout run. Generally not my cup of tea, but technicals are technicals here. It's just been on an absolutely tear. Ideally, I would like for Bitcoin to continue to hold these levels. 25,000 is going to be the key next. It can continue to squeeze alongside of tech. If that is the case, yeah, we can see 25K, but I'd be a little bit cautious if we happen to lose the daily 200. If we lose the daily 200 here, you do get this vacuum all the way back down to support, maybe retest the breakout of about 18,650, which would kind of put you right back at the daily 50. So some caution if we do lose the daily 200, but other than that, kind of clear skies to 25K, and then most definitely you got a decent little gap fill to 28K if it really wants it. So Bitcoin, yeah, if tech wants to go, Bitcoin's probably going to follow suit there. Let's go on to the VIX, the volatility index. We're at yearly lows, holding 18. I'm not too crazy about it until it gets above 2021. We did hit above 20 at one point last week. That was mainly with Microsoft earnings. And then we just fell through, of course. But if we do happen to break above 21 and some change, that'll put us back above the daily 50, especially if we get a daily close above it. Then I'll be more and more interested in it, especially to the upside for the VIX, which means we have increased volatility within the S&P 500, which means, maybe we'll need to go short at that point. And of course, by that point, our key levels will be broken. So then we would definitely be looking to go short on the SPY and the main indices. So, everything kind of intertwines there. So 10-year, 2-year continues to be inverted. We all know that. So kind of pay attention to that. Let's see. Don't become complacent this week, especially this week. We got tons of earnings, tons of economic data to watch out for. Now's not the time to get comfortable. Now's the time to maybe play some defense, whether that's, reduce risk, do what you need to do to manage risk or hedge. Anything kind of goes, especially when Powell starts to talk. We all know that when Powell starts to speak, especially when he starts doing his Q&A session, anything really goes. It becomes volatile. Then the markets need time to digest everything, and then we get the actual move the following day. So when Powell comes out Wednesday, that'll be our first little show there, and then the next day is when things get even more interesting because the market will have that time to digest and reread over everything that he has said. So risk management, risk management, risk management. We're just keeping that if this then that mentality. Bullish, extremely bullish above 410. No doubt about that on the SPY. So that's going to be our key component there. Above 410, we're good. Below 395, not too much excitement there. We got, as long as the dollar's under 103, we're good. There's still, actually, I think they just released a new report on the put to call ratio. We got a lot of puts that were actually eaten up. So not as much puts out there anymore as what we've seen in the put to call ratio over the past 2 weeks. So that's pretty interesting. All right, so let's get into it. Yeah, we do have a GIF for gold. We don't talk about it. No. Let's see. All right, so first things first, let's go to Google. Google does have earnings this week on Thursday. For a day trade, I like it above 100. Above 100, we could see 102. Like I said, earnings are this week on Thursday, and I do not want to be holding any kind of position going into earnings. Earnings are a complete lotto. Technicals go out the window. Anything goes. I like to have odds in my favor when we get into earnings reports. Anything can happen, so odds are not in my favor. So I like Google as a day trade above 100 towards 102. Shaman's laughing because he played Google last week. Citigroup, this is from the financial sector. I like it above 52.28. We get a nice little consolidation here between 52 and 51. Things are pretty tight here. We get this nice break above 52.28. I want to be aware of it for a move towards 54.25. It's not a large move. Citi's kind of a quiet, especially if you compare it to JP Morgan, which JP Morgan's not bad in itself. I just like the setup with Citigroup a little bit better. JP Morgan above 141. We could see 143. Got a nice little level here. As far as JP Morgan goes, maybe even to 150 if you're looking for a higher end target there on JP Morgan. Could be an interesting swing. UPS. UPS is on my radar above 183.64. We can see that this has been a pretty interesting area of resistance. Once we get above that, I'm pretty much targeting this level here at about 188 and some change. As far as UPS goes, let's clear that. Next one on the list is Boeing. Boeing, nice little consolidation here throughout the day, throughout the weeks, past 2 weeks actually. They've already done their earnings, holding steady above that. I know I got a lot of lines here, but just kind of ignore that. Above 215, I like it to about 223 near these prior highs here. Let's go to Nike. Nike was relatively quiet last week. You got the same structure here. Nice tight consolidation between these zones, 129. There it is, 129 and 124. If we can get above 129, my target is going to be right about here at about 134. You'll see this on a few charts. Remember last week, the New York Stock Exchange had that incredible, lovely malfunction, and it sent the market into a little hissy fit there. So you're going to see these candles. last I heard, they're going to probably negate all that, and these candles will be fixed eventually. But I haven't heard much of an update since then. So we'll see, because I know these candles here within these stocks that got affected. This is kind of an eyesore, and it makes my eye twitch a little bit. But if we do get this break above 129.30, looking for a move towards 134 on Nike. AMD earnings this week as well. This needs to be strictly a day trade. I like it above 77 for a move towards 79, maybe even 80 if we overshoot it. 80, 81 if we want to overshoot things. But you got this nice area of confluence of as far as resistance goes, and the daily 200 here. So I want to pay attention to AMD. We know Nvidia has just been on absolute tear. Intel Core released their earnings last week. Intel Core was absolutely abysmal, but they ate it up. Great product, terrible stock. If you want it for a dividend, fine. I'm not going to knock you on it, but this thing's been the same price for the most part for the past 20 years or so, give or take. If you zoom out on chart, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Let's go to a 10-year monthly chart. Yeah, so we're right back at the same price we were at back in, was that 2015? Yeah, it's kind of shame. You'd think this would be much better, but Intel Core, they've obviously lost some market share. Competition is getting pretty crazy out there, and they're doing what they can. Intel Core is a great product, we know that, but they got some catching up to as far as the individual stock goes. So AMD looking above 77 here. Nvidia looks great to the upside. I'm not too excited. This thing's ran up. It's ran up hard. I don't feel like chasing here. It does have some leg room to about that 227.77. You got the golden cross. You got the daily 50 crossing above the daily 200. I would like to see it consolidate, whether that is consolidating through time or consolidating through price, where we get a retracement of some sort. Consolidating through time just means you're trading sideways for a few days, and maybe some inside candles, not really making much progress, and then making another move off of that. So right here, I'm not too comfortable chasing. I'd much rather, if you're not in it already, you wait for a pullback, or you wait for things to kind of chill out for a second. So right here, pretty interesting spot here at about 206. Yeah, but the upper end target is definitely this 227 move here. As far as Nvidia goes, great name, awesome graphics. If you're into graphics cards and all that kind of stuff, the stuff that they do nowadays is just absolutely insane. Not to mention everything else that they're getting, not just graphics. They do a lot more than that. Let's go to ADI. This one was on my radar last week, and it tried to get going, but not so fast. So still looking for a move above 171, 172 for a push towards 177. This one could be better as far as shares go. I would double check the options chain if you want to do options here. I think shares are probably the way to go with ADI as far as this one goes. And then ADSK Autodesk, uh, big resistance zone here at this 212.50. Looking for this to break out towards 220, 220, maybe even 230 if it gets a lot of momentum from that. An interesting one too, I'll point out, is Pinterest. This one's one of those things too where you have to zoom out a lot. Beat up name. You got that rounding bottom structure here. No handle, just a rounding bottom. Looking for this thing to break above 28 to push on higher as far as pins go. This one, is kind of slow, kind of boring, but interesting nonetheless. We used to trade it like a lot. So above 28, your first little target is going to be 30. Once you hit 30, just raise your stops, protect your investment there. Anytime you get a good green trade, don't let it go red. Always raise your stops. And that's kind of my rule with long-term investing too. Don't be married to a position, and unless your fundamental viewpoint changes on a company, yeah, cut it. But even for me as a technical analyst, if I don't like to be married to a position, so if I'm going to be investing in something, I want it to continue to make money, and have that money work for me. I don't want it to go red. How do you raise stops? Easy. Let's go to NVIDIA as an example. NVIDIA. So let's clear out this noise here. Clear drawing set. Yes. All right. So let's say you played in this consolidation area on NVIDIA and you got in. Let's keep this blue. You played this breakout at 151. Say you got a good entry. You nailed it. You got in at 151. Price continues to raise higher. So you have your first, anytime you enter a position, you should always know three things: your entry, your target, and your stop. Never enter a position without knowing those three basic things. So that's going to be our first key thing here. So we have our entry at 151. What's your first target? My first target is going to be this level here, about 170-ish, give or take. Yeah, you could probably argue this right here, actually. We'll make it this one. How about that? Let's go here. 165 is going to be our first price target. So you had your first entry and your stop is going to be down here, slightly below the low of the channel here, because you don't want to get stop loss hunted. It happens. So you have your entry at 151. You have your first target at 164. Great trade, great entry. You hit your first PT. Now what I'm going to do is I'm either going to raise my stop to, I don't know, here, wherever you feel like choosing. That way your trade always stays green. You can always sell partial here to make a free trade. So say if you bought 100 shares, you can sell 50 of them and raise your stops to break even. That way, no harm, no foul. And then say your next target is going to be this 185 area. You hit 185, you take some off, you raise your stops again. Say you raise your stops to here at your first PT. Now you have a completely green trade. So you don't have to worry about your initial investment going red on you. You can do certain percent, you can, and that is all dependent on your risk management style. Personally, I don't do percentage. I do price levels, strictly price levels. Yeah, like Boo says, stop loss is dependent on many factors, your personal style, your risk management profile, your risk to ruin, risk to reward, the technicals on a chart. Me personally, I like to base it off of my price levels. So if I got this entry at 151, my stop is going to be right below this support level at 140. I hope that helps. There's a lot of ways to do it, but we can definitely help you with that. But I like to go off of price. Price pays. Indicators are lagging, so all if you try to base your stops on indicators, it's going so you might should have been stopped out way before your indicator told you to stop out. Did I go over Meta? They do have earnings this week. Yeah, we can take over. Take over. Let's take over Meta. Let's storm the gates. Zuckerberg. 170. You're right here at the daily 200. Hard to chase it. We know the communication sector in general has just been absolutely crushing it since the beginning of the year. Nice bottom formation down here at the 4650 level. We broke out of the upper end of this channel at 52. Resistance, 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 slight pullback. This is like textbook pullback too. Pullback, just a little bit of retracement. You didn't even retrace to the very bottom. You just came back in and then launch pad off of that resistance level, broke above the daily 200. And there you go. Same thing here with Meta. I mean, that was just a beautiful breakout. Meta, you had this nice resistance level here. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Broke out of that first zone, came up to the second zone at 138. Resistance, resistance. There's your big resistance there. Broke out. Now you're at the daily 200. It's a little interesting spot to get long here if you're already not long. Yeah, you got earnings come up, so this would strictly be a day trading situation. If you're looking to get long as far as like either investment or a long term swing, I'd wait for a pullback, and you might get that on earnings. Who knows? It could just run. But yeah, I like it a little bit better above 155. Above 155, I would look at 170 as my next target, and then 183 as my next zone, and then so forth. The levels are pretty straightforward to take a look at too. Uh, there you go. Resistance, 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 resistance. Here's a big resistance. You got a big gap fill over way up here, but that'll take time to really work. So we won't worry about that just yet. Above 155, 170, 183, 200. You might get a pullback here at the daily 200, but we'll see. I'll clear out these just so you can kind of see better. You got support down here, a little bit down here at 132. That's where I would kind of base my support level. So you got a little bit ways to fall if she does reject here. So you're talking about, oops, I didn't even get to see that number. Is that about a 13% drop to support? 150 to 133, 17 points to find support. Thoughts on Neo currently? Yeah, Neo didn't quite follow suit there, did it, with Tesla? Tesla absolutely rip roar. If we want to take a look at that, absolutely beast mode. Beast mode. 198 upper resistance there. Let's see, what did XPEV do? XPEV kind of quiet. I think everybody else was kind of quiet. Rivian. I think the only one that wasn't quiet was Lucid. Lucid, absolutely crazy day on Friday. Neo, yeah, same situation. And you got that weird candle from the other day, so that kind of ruins, ruins things a little bit. Above 1320, you can play it. I've had this line sitting here for a little bit. Tight zone here between 13 and 9. Above 13, I'd probably look at about this 14 30 level. So you got about a dollar move to the upside potential. Above that, I would just target the daily 200. It's a little bit messy for me, but the channel is there nonetheless. So if I can get my right drawing tool here. Yeah, there you go. Above 1320, 1450. I don't like it below 11. Below 11, go back to the bottom end of the channel at 9. So that'll be your midpoint. SCCO bull flag on the daily? Question mark. Sure. I like that. Southern Copper. Yeah, copper's just been absolutely nuts. Higher copper can inflate the inflation report. C. Miller, what do I think about USO? Yeah, I'll take a look at USO real quick. So copper, great move to the upside. We broke that $4 level. As long as copper holds that 4 level, you should be good to go. I think copper in general, it's a buy the dip opportunity. So if we keep that mindset with Southern Copper, which has just been an absolute beast, yeah, this is, to me, this looks like a bull flag. Let me get rid of all these lines here so I can clean up that mess. I'll keep that support. Actually, just get rid of it. All right, so yeah, bull flag looks pretty good to me. So what we're looking for here as far as the measured move is, I'm just going to take my fib extensions, clear out the blue line so I can see it. I'm going to start here, use that as my pole, and my measured move brings me to first target of 87, but I'm going to mark my main first target here at about 79. The thing with the bull flag is we got to break the pole. So 78, you're good to go to the upside. Those are my targets. 87 through 93 is your measured move there on SCCO. I'll drop my fib extension right here at the 61 level. We could probably do it maybe a little bit lower. That might give you something a little bit different, but same vicinity around there. But use your price targets. If we zoom out, yeah, here's your big level there, 83. That is your all-time high, I believe. Let me go to a monthly just to confirm that. Yeah, 83.30 will definitely be your big target to the upside. That'll get you your all-time high there as far as SCCO. Definitely has good potential. I like it. I will have a alert set up here at the top of the flagpole at 78. Yep, I like it at 78. Daily close above 78 and send it. It needs to go. It needs to go. It does not need to hesitate. It just needs to go. USO from C. Miller. USO. I think there are better names out there. As far as oil goes, I'm not a fan of USO just from a personal matter here, but technically speaking, you got a channel here to work with, between 72 and 69. Okay, good. There wasn't a joke there. Below 69, let's see. You're looking for a move all the way back down to 64. Above 72, I would look at my target being the daily 200 at 74 and 75. So that would be my key moves there. So above 72.25, look for a move to 75 first. And if you get that breakdown even further below 69, look for support at 64 to hold. So you're kind of just in the middle of a zone here for the most part, of a bigger zone. Now your smaller zone here, yeah, you got something to work with. Good spot. Support, trying to hold it here, trying to hold it together. Resistance. I gotta zoom out. Oops, don't want to edit the study. So you have a small put position. I like it. Target 64 if you lose that breakdown for sure. USO, yeah, I thought you meant I didn't read that last part, but you have a put position. I like it. Lose 69 looks really good. ZOM had a nice breakout last week. We played this one above 114.66. We played the breakout. Got a little bit of an inside day yesterday. Generally, when you have these breakouts, you just want to see them go. You don't want to see any kind of hesitation or throwback. You just want to see it run. You can have a throwback, and when things do have a throwback, it does kind of reduce the success rate for things to hit their main price targets. So it's just a little bit of a technical tip. I don't know where I was going with that, but we played ZOM last week, and it was pretty good. Shop, that was a good play last week. I know a bunch of guys played Tesla last week that just absolutely slaughtered. We had a guy win 55K. Waste management earnings this week. I like it below 150. Yeah, 150, 148 zone. I got all these weird drawings. Let me clear drawings that some of these drawings are old, and I like to have my drawings a little bit clean. Yeah, 148, 150 zone. There's your upper end. There, you're below the daily 200, daily 20. You're sideways, erratic price action, nice zone. If you lose 150, 140's next, 138 even. So looking for a move down if you lose support. Then your upside, I'd imagine if you get above this zone here, 161 and some change, looks like, to the upside, towards 170. Yeah, earnings this week, like I said, from a personal standpoint, we fired them because they weren't picking up our trash. Shame. John wants to be long peton. It's all you, man. All you. I think actually the consensus is that Peloton might actually beat. Let me see. Let me check that out. Keep on. Volatility is on a volatility watch. How about that? Sell, hold, sell, bye, sell. You got to mix your bag of analysts there. Yeah, it is on volatility watch as far as this goes. Let's see, what day did they report today? Was it Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday? I can't remember. Oh yeah, Neo does have their monthly deliveries as well on Wednesday, so that could be important to watch. It could be a fun lotto. Could be. They're usually cheap. I would just pay attention to the IV so you don't get IV crush. Ford, they have earnings as well. Same thing. You got an interesting. You're kind of like at an interesting spot here. You're at the daily 200. Nothing too crazy to write home about. Just kind of seeing what happens. It's a slow mover. Volume's interesting. Let's see here. 14 maybe. Upper end 1668. That's a pretty nice zone if we can get up there. I don't like it below 12. That's for sure. Lose 12, that loses your smaller support zone there, and then you got big support down there at about 11 and 10 zone. You're kind of in la la land right now with Ford. It's not my favorite. Same thing with General Motors here. General Motors, pretty interesting spot. You're in between a zone here. You got room to 41, but you also have room all the way down to 30. Not the best risk to reward setup. Seems like Ford's right at that. Yeah, right at that daily 200 that it's rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It could go, above 1345. I like it to 14. It moves slow. It moves slow. 14 will be next, 1467. Then you got your big zone at 1668. Yeah, a little bit like how the SPY was. You're at a very interesting conjuncture with earnings coming up, and who knows what will happen. It's not bad. It's not great. All right, great questions tonight. So remember, key levels, if this and that mentality, SPY above 410, hooray. Below 395, aw. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Big week, lots of earnings, lots of economic data. Do not become complacent. Keep that if this, then that mentality. Risk management, risk management, risk management. Yeah, just don't get too comfortable. Anything can happen. If this market wants to continue, she most definitely will. Who knows what will happen? This is a pretty crazy week. We got these bullish setups throughout the board, but we're right here at oh boy, what's going to happen? Anything goes with Powell for sure. I appreciate y'all coming out, hanging out with me tonight. If you have any questions, guys, on social media, feel free to reach out to me. My email is fuzz@stockdads.com. C. Miller on YouTube says, any promos or trials for Stock Dads? I think we can get you a is there not a code on YouTube? I thought we had a code on YouTube, Shaman. Let me check real quick and I'll tell you. I want to say we do. You're shaman your voice changers on, buddy. I think it sounds like it. Let me check. Let's see. I thought we had one for YouTube. It's in the description. Luke Smith is on it. He says it's in the description at the very bottom. I appreciate it. I could have sworn we had it. Promo code YouTube for 10% off. I think we also have members that can give you a referral code. I don't know if that showed up in YouTube. Okay, so that's Stock Shaman right there if you need to. But yeah, my email is fuzz@stockdads.com if you need me, if you have any questions on that. We got one question here. What about lithium? All right, lithium trying to hold this 1750 support, daily 50. Let's see. Yeah, what was the other LTHM? Livent. Livent's another lithium. LTHM. I think these all look the same if I'm not mistaken. Sigma, not Sigma. Sigma. Let's see. Sigma looks good above 32, 33. Yeah, cash is a position. All right, so let's go back to LAC, Lithium America's Core. I wonder if this is a short interest name here. I like it above 23. As long as it holds the daily 50, I think you're good to go for some part. I wouldn't go heavy on this. This looks a little bit funky to me, or this smells like not too comfortable with it. You had this nice little trap here, bear trap down here at about that 1750 move, and then you came up about to the daily 50. Now you're just kind of at this really interesting conjuncture where you're right at the upper end of resistance here at about 23. Above 23, sure, we could see a move towards 24, but the risk reward seems a little bit more skewed here. If we do get a drawback, 20 to hold. If 20 doesn't hold, you're going to revisit this support here down at about that 19 to 17 zone. So it looks a little bit hairy for me. I think you probably find something a little bit more useful to put that position in. Here, I think the risk reward is just a little bit too skewed here. And if you get a pullback, sure. Well, let's do a fib retracement real quick. All right, so our 382 is right here at 20. Okay, so that's kind of how I'd probably play it, because you got a little bit of this support zone at about 2080 to 21. You hold that, I think you're okay. But if you start to break down, I'm just not too confident in this, and especially if you're right here at 2318. Like I said, the risk reward seems a little bit skewed for my taste, and it just looks a little bit dicey. You got a good target here at 2470 with the confluence of resistance and the daily 200. That gives you a 1.5 point move to the upside and a potential. If you bought here, you're looking at a nasty downfall from 22 to 19. So that's a 3-point move to the downside right here. But if you buy here, you got a 2-point risk to a 3 to 4 point reward. So it's a little bit better buy right here than it is right here in my book. So I don't like it right here. I like it a little bit better down here to retest this support, this fib retracement level, and then go from there. It's just a little bit hard of a nibble right here. And if you do get that breakout, you can play the breakout. You get a little bit of reward there. So And that's kind of how I would kind of go over that. Oh, you're welcome. I hope that helps. I know that was probably a lot of info right there, but there's a few ways you can play that breakout. You can play that pullback, um, just however you want to do it based on your risk to reward there. Yeah, Luke, thank you for helping me out there. I knew it was somewhere. C Miller, if you have any issues, like I said, feel free to reach out, fuzz@stockdads.com, or what's your email, Brandon? shaman@stockdads.com. Someone will help you out. Stock Shaman. There you go. All right. Have a great rest of your evening. Who won the football game? Because I don't have it pulled up. Dang. Yeah, heck of an ending there, it looks like. Spoiler alert. Mm. Nice. Yeah, so we had what Sean said there. I don't think y'all can hear him on YouTube, but what he was saying is we had some sports betting on Kansas City. So good job if you bet on those. Wild finish. How about that? All right, cool beans. All right, if you're in the Discord, I will have my notes posted in the watch list, and I'll also get you my watch list for tomorrow posted as well, and we'll keep it going. Great questions tonight. Hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I will see you guys bright and early in the morning for live trading, of course, and we will get at it. I appreciate all of y'all, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Take care.